They came to us asking, we need to scale some data. We need to think about our infrastructure as we expand in international games. So that's really, I think, a testament to a customer pulling you forward into a different type of paradigm. And then at the same time, honestly, I had a business challenge to solve. How do I build brand, right? Am I going to be able to cut through in a world where everything digital seems to be relatively oversaturated? AI is defining content at speeds faster than we can keep up with. So sports in reality is one of the few places left where you can actually get genuine human attention at scale.
Hey guys, welcome back to CMOs Unscripted. I'm your host, Lisa Martin. I am so excited for this episode. I'm bringing you back an OG guest to the show because NetApp has done something with Gabie Boko, CMO, just incredible recently. And I wanted you to hear about it from her. Because we know when most people think about the NFL, they think touchdowns, I think halftime shows, maybe controversial, Super Bowl commercials. They probably don't think about data infrastructure. So we're going to talk about how NetApp ended up partnering with the NFL. So joining me for a second time on CMOs Unscripted this year is Gabie Boko, the CMO of NetApp. As you might recall, Gabie, decades in enterprise tech marketing across companies like SAP, Sage, HPE, now leading global marketing at NetApp. She actually was my first guest of season 2 for CMOs Unscripted. And I loved my conversation with her so much that I asked her to come back and talk about something really interesting that I think you're going to learn from. And that's how NetApp ended up partnering with the National Football League. Gabie, it's so great to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I enjoyed our conversation so much last time. I'm really looking forward to another one.
Me too. So, Gabie, NetApp became the official intelligent data infrastructure partner of the NFL last year in 2025. You're helping to power, like behind the scenes, the league's data platform and fan experiences. So walk us kind of back, Gabie. Where did the idea for an NFL partnership? It's massive. Where did it come from? Was that marketing? Was it the business side? Was it both?
It came from two different directions, actually. First, it came from the customer. The NFL is a customer of ours. They have been for over a decade. And so even when we weren't sponsoring them, they were still a customer. And so there were a lot of conversations that we were having because they were already running NetApp. They came to us asking, we need to scale some data. We need to think about our infrastructure as we expand in international games. So that's really, I think, a testament to a customer pulling you forward into a different type of paradigm. And then at the same time, honestly, I had a business problem to solve. I don't want to call it a problem, but I had a challenge to solve. Mm-hmm. How do I build brand, right? Am I going to be able to cut through in a world where everything digital seems to be relatively oversaturated? AI is defining content at speeds faster than we can keep up with. So sports in reality is one of the few places left where you can actually get genuine human attention at scale. So both things kind of were true simultaneously. Customer pulling us forward, us trying to find a reason to break through and acquire different levels of attention.
I loved the fact that the NFL as a customer came to you. They inbound from an inbound perspective. Yeah. Did you have to do any convincing of the broader NetApp organization that like a sports partnership of this magnitude will help us carry our brand forward as a B2B infrastructure company?
Yeah, I think I'm still doing it. I think you sell it every single day. But the first thing was I wanted to sell our executive team and our board on it, right? That was a, hey, this is going to veer away from how we normally do things. But the question that we posed was simple. If we believe that the power in the world's most intensive data moments inside the NFL is strong, and that we have an opportunity to prove that, Why would we not want to partner with them? And then the second thing was, how do we start to say, how are we elevating the brand? I think salespeople instinctively were at the point where it was like, hey, listen, why are you spending my money here? I want more demand. I want more customer events. I want more kind of opportunity advancement with dinners, et cetera. I'm not taking away from those efforts. I'm actually still investing at the exact same level. All I'm doing is I am trying to focus in on, if AI and content are proliferating the game and changing the game in terms of all of those other activities, how do I come up over top of it and give ourselves moments to really drive the engagement in a much higher way? And how do I affect the brand and watch the brand grow by doing that? So again, people choose to be at sporting events. There is
Yeah.
no better audience than people who want to be there.
Yes. Agree. And we don't get many of those opportunities. I think like what struck me this year watching the Super Bowl here in Levi Stadium down the street from me through your lens was, during an NFL game, what a lot of folks, they'll see like sponsorships by certain brands that they know from a tech perspective,
Sure.
but the stadium becomes this massive data environment.
Yeah.
They're tracking plays that people want to see. They're powering all these video boards. They're streaming to millions of fans. So the opportunity right there. So how did your team like really translate something complex like intelligent data infrastructure into a story that all those fans in the seats could visualize?
Yeah. We were supremely lucky. I'm not going to say it was all luck, but I mean, the goal to sponsor the NFL and the 49ers at the exact same time was part of a
Yeah.
stronger brand play that was guaranteed. It was luck that the very first season that we were actually fully active in both was inside the 49ers Levi's Stadium. I mean, that was amazing, right?
Amazing. Yes.
But when you come back to then how do you take those two amazing storylines and two amazing customers of ours and say, how do we infuse our story into it? And intelligent data infrastructure, thank you for saying it. That is who we are. That is kind of how we anchor what we do and why we decide to do something. We were looking to anchor that moment in something that people really cared about. And for us, when you think about other sponsorships of ours, like DreamWorks, right? A film is 2.7 petabytes of data, and we can tell those stories realistically. How do you tell the story of a football game? Well,
Yeah.
it turns out that we had really great partners who said, you know what? When we come into a stadium, when the NFL comes into a stadium, or when the 49ers are at home playing a game, they treat their stadium like an active data center. I mean, that's just a gift that keeps on giving for us, because
Yes.
that
For
is
sure.
them telling us how they see it, and then us saying that fits in perfectly, right? So what we had is, again, the connection of a customer pushing us where we needed to be, because a stadium is generating multiple petabytes of video and security data every single game, and we're attaching that number to something that people love and attaching it to
Yeah.
a story. Ultimately, intelligent data infrastructure stopped being an abstraction, and it really started to be not a manufactured story. It became something incredibly visible. And honestly, that is again back to the power of, if you know what your brand is and you're driving to what that
Yeah.
result is, and leaning on the power and strength of how your customers tell the story, then those will be truths that you can magnify in great moments.
I love that. Double click, Gabie, for me on how did the storytelling play a part? So the product is mostly invisible to the audience, but it seems like it was elevated through the voices and the brands of the NFL and the 49ers.
Yeah. Honestly, we would probably say that data infrastructure does its best work when nobody notices it. So that is part of the message that we were trying to get across. So the storytelling has to feel not like I'm talking about the infrastructure, but the consequence or the value that they're seeing. So
Mm.
they're seeing maybe the speed or the resilience of kind of the stadium. You're making the outcome of, I ordered something much more simply, or I didn't experience wait times, or I found security to be, I knew it was there, but I didn't have to worry about it. That's the outcome being the hero. And that's really, us earning the right on the backs again of how our customers are using it to really say who's making that possible. I also think there's something super powerful, and this is what we leaned in on about that idea of invisibility, right? The most
Yeah.
critical systems in the world in across a variety of industries, banking, healthcare, including the NFL, run infrastructure that really never gets mentioned unless it breaks. So what
Yes.
we're trying to say is that that becomes a proof point in and of itself. We are successful when it matters in the biggest moments, in the biggest stage, in the biggest, kind of intersection of life. If you don't see NetApp, that's okay because our customers are, and we want people to understand, respect that, take it home, and really just say,
Yeah.
oh, if the NFL can do this, if the 49ers can do this, and look at all the other customers, they can probably do it for me too.
Absolutely. So take us behind the scenes. I was watching, as you know, I was following you on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's Bad Bunny, there's Tom Brady." I'm like, "Oh my God, I would have fainted if I'd seen Tom Brady." Great day. What does the partnership look like a BTS? Who are you as CMO and NetApp? Who are you working with inside the NFL? How does it all come together?
It is a multi-stakeholder environment, and again, it's a business, right? the
Yeah.
the team at the NFL, I am just so proud to work with them. They are incredibly smart and creative people, and they do treat their company like a family. Same with the 49ers, they treat their company like a family. So we just want to be a part of that family and do everything we can. So in that multi-stakeholder environment, just like any other business, right? You have IT, you have security, you have media, you have all the franchises coming together, and what you're doing inside every family and every business is you're earning credibility at every single level of that
Yes.
organization. So that conversation about the Super Bowl obviously doesn't start, 2 months in advance. It starts 18 months prior. And it doesn't start with us talking about what color our napkins are going to be or what our digital or social is going to look like. It really started
Yeah.
with, hey, listen, is the infrastructure going to hold on game day? What do we need to do to it? Right. So that's us building alignment and then building playbooks that support that alignment, that track that back to the roadmap. What's going to be delivered when? How do we tell that story? If that's not story is not going to be ready, then we need to pull that out of the conversation earlier. So the goal was never really about like just logo placement or showing up as a brand. I call it logo slap. The goal was to really be in line with our references and what was being used, and being able to have it be visually represented and something that we could talk about. So it was being, again, genuine and authentic to the brand, and being and representing that family and that business in the best way we possibly could.
So what you did was you really made sure this is a true partnership. It's symbiotic.
It
It's
is.
not just a logo on the field kind of sponsorship. But the Super Bowl, oh my gosh, it might just be the most like complex live event on the planet. So talk about the role NetApp has in making that work. What surprised you the most when you saw the scale of data like behind an NFL game?
I think it still surprises me. We continue to say that data is at the core of what we do. That's why it's intelligent data infrastructure. And it still continues to surprise me how much volume of data and the velocity of data that comes off of an event like that. It is continuous streams of video and biometrics and security feeds. You got to remember, there are data sensors on players, there's data in the stadium, there's data in the cameras, there's data in the stands from each fan, there's data back at parking, there's data with security, there's data from every aspect possible.
Yeah.
You understand that kind of scale all happening within less than a 6 hour condensed time frame. You really understand that this environment, quite frankly, is perfect for NetApp. This is what we're set up for,
Hmm.
build for, but it is maximum pressure, right? Like we tested with the NFL, we tested with the 49ers for Levi Stadium. There was a lot of testing. So, it's not just the teams who are practicing before an event. We're also right there with them, making sure nothing's going to go down. And if we do, then there's a backup to make it happen. And so again, back to that invisibility factor. So again, I think it comes back to, I am continually proud of the amount of data and the amount of speed and complexity that we can process and help work with these amazing companies at any given time. And that is Super Bowl was a microcosm of just, wow, this is huge.
Just wow. Well, the thing is, the fans watching all those betting, whatever, they expect it. They expect to have
We
the
do.
information, the data, like right there and then and there that it really adds to the total experience, which we didn't have 10, 20 years ago. What was that like game day? Talk about game day. What was that like for you? You said you did all this testing. We proved
Yeah.
everything was spot on, but then game day hits and
It's
the
like
eyes of the world are on you.
it's like a wedding, right? You get up and you're like, oh gosh, I got butterflies. I got butterflies. I honestly, it was just a really proud moment. At that time, you're just kind of you're committed. We checked in with everybody, and I woke up and I was like, all right, it's let's do this. Let's do this.
Literally, it's game day. Yeah.
And then you walk in and you're just like, you see everybody, you see the NFL team, you see the team leads, you see everybody, and you walk into kind of some of our promotional activities, which is we sponsored the tailgate. You see us all over Levi's Stadium. You take the bus ride with the customers who are just, it's like you can feel the vibration, and you walk
Oh
in and you're
yeah.
just like I knew that it was going to work when my CEO just came up and gave me a big old hug, and I was like, okay,
Yep.
we're here, we're there, we're going to do it. And it just like even if we weren't rooting for the teams, because again, right, we're here for the story. We might personally have opinions on the players and the
Right.
teams.
Of course.
We were
Yes.
there for the story, but you could just see that reflection of things are working. And when the 49ers team came by and talked to us, they were just like super happy as well. When the NFL came by, they were super happy. So again, it was like a wedding. It was like having a kid graduate college. It really did feel
Yeah.
really good. It just felt good.
It was big. And I saw your dip with Jerry Rice. I'm like, oh my God, I watched Jerry Rice when I was a
Jerry,
kid.
I love Jerry. I'm
He
literally
was
half his size, so it's very fun to do things with him.
I love it. But it just showed the confidence they had in it. I'm like, when you guys were doing that, I'm like, they've got this. It's tested, it's built, it's proven,
Yep,
it's running in real time.
that
We're
is
good.
right. That's correct.
Yes. So talk about, I mean, massive partnership. You mentioned the 49ers. I've been a fan since I was a kid, the NFL. What did building this partnership, what did it teach you, a seasoned CMO, about brand building that you think other CMOs, you should think differently?
I think there's really two things, and one is something that every CMO knows, and that's there's no substitute for authenticity, right?
No,
You
absolutely
can't
not.
you
No,
can't fake a brand. So
no.
you have to
And you
find
shouldn't.
you have to find the moments that generate that, and you have to be true to yourself, right? If it doesn't work for you, then showing up that way, actually, it doesn't give you that same level. Wow, we really pulled this off, right?
Yeah,
I don't really necessarily think that authenticity is a brand value. I really think it's starts to become an operational requirement, because
100%.
it
Yes.
again, back to that, the customers pulling us forward, right? It's part of our brand value to generate and tell our customer's story. We didn't need a sports backdrop to really look better. We needed something that proved our story, and that's what we wanted to
Yes.
get out of this. So authenticity is something that we all know we need, but it's so absolutely critical in terms of how you operationalize it. And then I think it's creating moments, and that's something that I think we all fall victim to. We think we all have to follow what everybody's doing, and I do the same. But I'm constantly evaluating when I need to follow something and when I don't. So we all do some version of a partnership or of a sponsorship, but you can't treat them like a media buy. For us, we pivoted away from, hey, listen, our logo's on this, or we're doing this for hospitality. And we said, how do we
Yeah.
actually create a moment that inspires our customers to want to be partnered with us? How do we influence things like, product adoption or product pipeline, or how we're influencing the conversations? As far as I believe, if you don't find a way to treat the moment and treat the activation differently, then none
Mm.
of that is going to be any
Yeah.
more than just a metric, right? You need something that helps you pull it through. So honestly, those are the two big things that I would say. Your brand is not a commodity. You've got to find a way to make it authentic, and you've got to find a way to give it a breakthrough moment that reflects back on all the other metrics that you've got to deliver.
I see authenticity as like a superpower for leaders, whether it be CMO, CRO, CFO, CEO, because clients want that. They want to know that you're coming to them truthfully, authentically. And then that trust really grows. What was, just curious, what was some of the feedback from existing customers, prospects, internal folks about what you were able to transform at Super Bowl 60 a couple months ago?
Listen, I think in the moment, everybody internally is on a high, and everybody is just thrilled. It's like we can't believe we're here.
Yes.
I found a lot of internal people were sending me snaps and IMing me on work team saying, "I just showed my family this. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited
I'm
we're
proud.
on this stage." So it really does promote an internal pride moment. And that's incredibly real for any sponsorship. That's incredibly real. I think the second thing is it really did testify to a lot of the people who'd been watching our progression, analysts, influencers, other sponsorships, to say, yeah, you guys are doing it differently, and we're so proud to be on this journey with you. I ran into one of our analysts just the other day at the NVIDIA event, and he was like, listen,
Mhm.
I am so proud to be watching you guys, just everything you've been doing, even at the Super Bowl and beyond. It's great to watch it. But I also think that it comes down to what the customers say, right? So
Oh, for sure. Yes.
when the customers who were there, honestly, were just like, this is amazing. We're so glad that you invited us to this and for making us a part of it. But now we're actually getting more connection with customers saying, I'm loving what you're doing. I'd like to come to an EBC. Tell me how you did this with the NFL. Tell me how you're doing this with DreamWorks. Tell me how you're doing this with any number of our customers, right?
Yeah.
ESA, which is the European Space Agency.
Yes, I worked with them. Yeah. Yeah.
It opens up the storylines, and they're saying, I want that. And so
Yeah.
that becomes a door opener for us. So, it creates and fosters permission to have the conversation, which is the gateway to trust, I think.
Oh, 100%. That gateway to trust, that catalyst is so important, especially when it's demonstrable,
Yep.
when it's authentic, and people across industries, across roles can see it. Yeah, I know you all also sponsor the Aston Martin Formula One team, and I love F1. I'm a huge fan. And the data coming off a car it's crazy. But where do you see it going forward? F1, NFL, 49ers, where do you see the intersection of sports, data, marketing? Where is that headed? We're early in 2026. Where do
Yep.
you see it going?
I think you're going to continue to see AI push what's possible in terms of things like fan personalization, player analytics, also, always real time decision making. AI is going to continue to help
Yeah.
be a catalyst for the content that is really interesting to most people. But I
Mhm.
really don't think it works without a good data infrastructure and a data foundation. So
Agree.
you're gonna continue to see us partner with other technology companies to bring that I would call it the economics of data around and home, and lean into what the kind of data infrastructure that people need to drive that new level of AI decision making, not just for enterprises, but for kind
Yeah.
of AI driven workloads that are going to make a difference. But I also think that what you're going to see in that intersection for sports is you're going to want to see that same story activated and elevated differently. And that becomes the moments. AI is going to give us scale,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the intersection on sports is going to continue to give us the personalization and speed that become different real life proof points for storytelling that I think is needed in this kind of AI environment. It's great if your technology performs at the Super Bowl. We're super proud of that, but we have to have that story reflect back in every single boardroom of our customers. So storytelling is going to continue to be absolutely critical. And sports, again, it's going to give, especially B2B brands like mine, a chance to demonstrate capability in an environment that they might not have had before. And I honestly think that while customer storytelling is resonant, there's something about sports storytelling that just bridges that gap. So I think it's more of the same, but create those real moments, find the moments that differentiate
Yes.
and really think about that intersection that AI brings to the data, brings to all of the infrastructure that you have to deliver to make those moments happen.
I completely agree. What other, last question for you? What other industries, I imagine all, will benefit from what NetApp is doing with with Aston Martin F1, with the NFL, with the 49ers, because that it's really transcendent, like what you're doing and with the AI race and F1, it affects other industries. What's that linkage?
Well, there's so much great content that exists in the sports and media and entertainment business. So you're gonna see that vertical just explode because I think that's a huge thing. I think that there is no other better place though than just go into healthcare or life sciences. They also
Yes.
deal with tremendous amounts of data, financial services, banking. Again, risk profiles, and the amount of data to manage that risk and manage financial markets. That's huge, right? So honestly, you could talk manufacturing. I could talk manufacturing all day. Let's build a
Yeah.
car faster. Let's make it more intuitive. Any industry manages this because they have the data that they need to manage and they need to think about. Remember, it's not just where your data is living. That is part of our job as NetApp. But part of our job is to help you understand where it's moving, how it's going to contribute, and how it is driving your business model. I think the biggest thing that you're going to see us do, quite frankly, is lean into that model. How do you want your business to change? Let us come help you, because as the intelligent data infrastructure company, we're committed to helping you get the most out of your data. That's what I'm most excited about.
And that's what it's all about, is helping customers really extract value from massive pools of data that are only going to get bigger. I lied. One more question.
Yeah.
What can we expect uh, from NetApp in the rest of 2026, FY27?
Well, we previewed a campaign at Super Bowl, but it's going to become mainstream now. And that's really we believe the ultimate outcome to being deploying intelligent data infrastructure is called Unleash Genius. We want you to unleash your genius
Yes.
in NetApp.
Yes.
You're going to see that to be far more prevalent. We're going out really big with that. Again, it's going to be about really bringing that community of people who are committed to your data together, products that work together, companies that work together to say we're committed to helping you go through a data revolution and get the best and use the most intelligence with it. So that's what you're going to see us do. We're not probably going to do any big announcements on more sponsorships, but we are going to integrate them more, and find ways to tell more meaningful stories.
I love it. Gabie, Unleash Genius. Guys, check it out. This was, I knew, Gabie, because I know you, a great conversation. I think if I look kind of like distill through, I think one of the big takeaways for our audience is that great partnerships, it isn't just about making the invisible visible. It's about alignment. Because as you said, when the story, the technology, the brand, when they all connect, you can create something which you've done that is way bigger than simple sponsorship or a logo. Gabie, thank you so much for spending some time and coming back on CMOs Unscripted. I wanted the audience to learn from you because what you've done is massive, but it's also kind of the gift that keeps on giving. And I think that's the message that folks need to understand.
Thanks so much, Lisa. It was fun talking to you. I'm really looking forward to the next year. So let's talk again.
We will for sure. And guys, thank you so much for watching CMOs Unscripted. I know that Gabie was our kickoff to season 2, and I had to have her back because what they've done activating this brand, the NFL, Aston Martin, 49ers, is just so impactful. And I wanted you to see how you take something invisible, make it visible, make it really impactful. So thanks for watching. We will see you on the next episode of CMOs Unscripted. For Gabie Boko, I'm Lisa Martin. Thanks for watching.